So I wanted to do this video in more of a live stream, but since I wasn't able to get my audio to actually sound good, I'm just going to have to pre-record this, and I'm going to share my thoughts on the updated battlegrounds, and I am going to share my thoughts on the PvP stream that Zos or ZeniMax recently had. So on the battlegrounds, I was so dreading these battlegrounds as soon as they were announced that I had intended to stop playing. I canceled my ESO Plus. I did not pay attention to the PTS cycle at all because I was so disappointed with the announcement of the 8v8 battlegrounds and the 4v4s, and that the other battleground modes were going away, the three teams of four. I thought, this is going to be a mess. This is going to be this is a really bad idea, I thought. And so I decided that I wasn't going to play. And so before it came to console, before update 44 came to console, like I said, I stopped my ESO Plus, and then I just put down the controller for a while. And I was intending on not coming back to play at all, or at least until January, when we usually have our sneak peek at the next chapter. And I was kind of thinking that this would be where I would decide whether I was coming back to the game or not, or if I was just going to stay away. But what happened was, while I was on the forums, I can't remember exactly why I was there, but I was going on the forums, and I saw a thread about the Necromancer companion. I can't remember his name right now, but I was hearing that he had a really good story, and so I figured, okay, I could at least log in and just claim that Necromancer, because while my ESO Plus was still while I still had the ESO Plus before it had actually stopped, I was able to get that companion for free. Not for free, I'm paying for ESO Plus, but I was able to download it without paying crowns. And so if I had waited till the ESO Plus lapsed, then I would have had to pay crowns for it. So I went ahead and got him while it was technically free, and I started his quest because I wanted to see what the high praises were about. And I haven't gotten far yet. I've only just unlocked them, but I may just continue to play just to see if this story is up to the hype. And this kind of reminds me also of why I typically, when I don't have fun with one portion of the game, I'll play a different portion of the game. So I may ease up on my intent to not play at all, but at the same time, me deciding not to play was more of a protest, because I felt like my feedback and my wants for the game had been so long unfulfilled that I didn't want to spend another year waiting and saying, well, I hope they'll make this change, or I hope they'll finally do this, or I hope they'll finally do that. I'm just getting so tired of waiting on this company to do things that I feel like should be no-brainers. And especially when I'm on the forum, I've had numerous threads where I'm putting forth information, I'm putting forth feedback and ideas. And I would hope that a company who cares about their customers would actually look at those things and take them into account. So, like I said, I wasn't going to play, but so while I was on, I just decided, well, I'll just do some battlegrounds to see how the battlegrounds are. And like I expected, maybe even worse than I expected, the 4v4 battlegrounds are just terrible, absolutely terrible. It's way out of balance. You cannot have a mode where you only have two teams If you have some kind of competition or something like that, a tournament, I understand you can do that. But if you want to have like a battleground mode, if that game gets lopsided, or if one person or one person on the team dies, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion which team is going to win. It's so unbalanced. You need a third team or even a fourth team, since now we know that Battlegrounds can handle 16 players. Why not have 4v4v4v4 instead of just 4v4v4? You can have 4 teams of 4. That would be great. Or at least right now I think it would be great. When we come up with these ideas, we kind of have to lean on our experience playing the game, and so that we can know how these things are kind of going to play out. I knew immediately hearing about 4v4 Battlegrounds and even AV8 that this was going to be a bad idea, because I have experience in Battlegrounds. I PvP, I know this stuff. So how did it manage to go through? Especially when undoubtedly there were people in the PTS saying, hey, this is lopsided. This team wipes, within the first couple of seconds how the rest of the fight is going to go. And yet it still went through. This is something that ZOS does all the time, because they just can't turn the ship around. It's a big ship. They can't turn it around quickly, I guess. But then why did the ship even go in that direction? How did you even come up with this? And so when you watch the stream that they had with Cypher PK, and before that stream even came on, I made a comment. I made a post on the forum saying highlighting PvP right now is not a good idea. PvP is not in the best state. You see the terrible meta that exists. Nightblades are out of control. Sorks are out of control. You have Warden tank healer sort of hybrids is just out of control. It's really not a great meta. It's never really been a great meta either, especially since procs has begun to become dominant. But it's just really not good to highlight PvP right now, and to bring somebody with as much profile as Cypher PK on. I'm like, you do really want to draw attention to the game and the state that it's in, especially when you have these Battlegrounds who are kind of glitching and bugging. You can't even start matches sometimes. So anyway, I watched the stream, and it was as bad as I expected it, but worse than I expected. And that is because I had no idea, I had no clue that I was going to be watching the lead combat designer, Brian Wheeler, look like he has absolutely no sense or no knowledge or understanding of PvP at all. I was not prepared to see just how absolutely lost he looked out there. Like at no point in time did I ever get the feeling that I can understand what he was doing or what he was thinking. He was moving very illogically for PvP, I would say. And it really takes you aback, because you have to think, wait a minute, so is this why PvP is the way it is? Because this person looks like he has almost zero experience PvPing, so he doesn't even know how bad things are. Is this why? Because when you see him play, you'll say, okay, well, if you have so little experience in PvP, why aren't you listening to the players? Because I assume that if you're not going to listen to the players, you have more experience and more knowledge on the subject than the players do. But evidently, looking at that stream, he doesn't. So why aren't anybody at ZOS, or why isn't anybody at ZOS listening to the players? Why did they sunset the class rep program? Why are they not taking the feedback from and it's such a hard thing, because I watch many streamers who I really enjoy watching, content creators, not just streamers, over the years. From I'm just going to name some of my personal favorites, like Is There No One Else, and I know there's a lot more, but I'm just talking about them because Is There Else, he was on Xbox, so I knew him from Xbox, and and I never really like developed a close relationship with him, but he knew of me and I knew of him at the time, but he probably forgotten me by now. So he was one of my favorite content creators, and I also like Grinsforge Gaming, and having all these players give feedback over the years and have it be ignored by Zoss, and then watch them just leave the game eventually because the game is not getting better, they're not having their feedback heard, and so they're moving on, and that's really painful to see. And these content creators are really valuable to the game. They bring eyeballs to the game, they bring people to the game. This is user generated content that's extremely valuable for a product, and word of mouth is so important. And a customer or potential customer is far more likely to believe the review of a user than they would for somebody who they expect to be, or who they assume to be, actually working with or on the product. Somebody who's actually involved with the product. They're not going to take their word as much as they will a user who is just giving their honest opinion. And so all these things contribute to a lot of people just saying, I'm not playing the game anymore. Like Songman UK, that was another one. I just randomly came to mind right now. Christopher ESO too. Yeah, Christopher ESO, and all these great people who could have become better if they were really valued by the company, by ZeniMax. And the irony of it is that they brought on Cypher PK, so that shows you that they understand the power of having a person who has a platform, or who is a content creator, to help to promote their product. So they understand that is clear by the fact that they went out and got Cypher PK. Oh, the Fang Rusher too. Fang Rush, we got to bring him up because he's another person who's been telling ZeniMax what's wrong with the game, and they haven't been listening. So the fact that they bring in Cypher PK shows that they understand that there is value there, while at the same time, he did start by playing ESO, but at the same time, all these other content creators they've had over the years, why haven't they given them great treatment? Why haven't they been listening to them and taking their feedback to heart? On the PvE side of things, Skinny Cheeks, Nephis, of course, has been giving feedback, but I know that Skinny Cheeks has offered a lot of feedback, and I know that he even went through and proposed a complete rework of a lot of combat systems. Now, all of those ideas I agree with, but he did put a lot of effort into that, and I think, I'm speculating here, that he probably recently applied for a job at ZeniMax and was probably turned down. But you would think that somebody with his knowledge would be able to go into a company and really help that game out. And that's what I thought was going to happen with Gilliam when Gilliam got hired at ESO. But I don't really know how much power and control he has there, but things just haven't really. Some things, I know some of his ideas did get implemented. I know that much because from watching his old videos, but at the same time, it hasn't really changed enough, the culture there at least. And I'm not just the culture, but just the product is not really changed enough and improved enough, especially based on our feedback. So I am thinking that I'm just going to play a little bit longer, do some more battlegrounds, maybe finish my fractured glory achievement, and that's a PvE questing sort of thing, and we'll see. We'll see, especially next year. If I'm not happy with what the update looks like it's going to be, I'm going to have to move on too, because I've given too much of my time to this game already. So yeah, I think that I've probably said enough, so I'm going to bring this video to a close with that. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you later.